Hey, what is going on everyone? Welcome back to another Clash Royale video, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the triple elixir challenge. Now a lot of you out there will be looking for whatever tips you can, and I do not blame you at all. Honestly, this challenge is really worth it if you can get up to, let's say, 8 wins or maybe even 10. I got up to 11, and if you take a look at the deck that I'm using down below there, it is actually a giant, what am I saying, not a giant, it is a P.E.K.K.A. Sparky deck. Now this thing here, do not take it for granted folks, it might lack a lot of direct damage, however it is pretty powerful in its own right. In fact, this deck right here folks, it got me to 11 wins, so it is something you can consider. However, I would recommend that you use a battle ram instead of the night witch maybe. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of people are going to be running lightning, and in those final moments of a match where your opponent just needs to lightning your tower for the win, a battle ram can be pretty handy, and overall it can generate a lot of pressure for 4 elixirs. So in this deck here, it is very defensive minded and it mainly relies on you counter pushing. However, with the addition of the battle ram, it will work wonders folks, trust me. I also tested a battle ram version of it with a rocket instead of the Sparky, and believe me folks, that was killing it. It really was killing it. So whichever version you like best, feel free to try it. I also have a P.E.K.K.A. control deck that I was also using that had lightning spell. I will leave a link to the written guide that I have, and you can take a look at the deck itself, so you can just have an option as to just, I don't know, use anything that you really find appealing. Anyways, so let's get back to the guide itself. Now, what is the triple elixir challenge? So in this challenge here, you will notice that you are playing a 1v1 match. However, the elixir regeneration rate is roughly 3 times the speed than it normally is. So there will be a ton of troops at all times on the board here folks. This challenge is dedicated to heavier decks like 3 muskets and all of that stuff. It is absolute chaos. So you're probably wondering what you can do to really just get some better odds at winning the challenge itself, right? So I've prepared some tips here really, and I hope that they will make some sense to you overall, because these tips came from my own experience playing the challenge. So yeah, just listen up here folks and tell me what you think about it in the comments after. So my first tip will be to bring the strongest of your cards. Now the reason why I say this is because generally if you bring under level cards, obviously you're going to suffer a lot, and we don't want to really suffer because of some card level differences. So yeah, when making your decks, look at what you can upgrade or what you have upgraded already before making your deck. That's one of the main things. So yeah, try your best to use cards that are tournament standard at least, because the levels do matter. If you walk in there with a level 5 Valkyrie, it is going to remain at a level 5. They will not boost it up for you. Our second tip will be to bring a win condition. Now this can be in the form of a miner for chip damage, it can be in the form of a rocket maybe if you have a rocket cycle deck, it can be the 3 muskets for crying out loud. Anything that you can think of really, bring a proper win condition that will help you get damage. Now when you're playing the challenge here, you will notice that every enemy is a bit different from the last. So what does this mean for you? Well folks, just to make this really simple, what this means is that any of the cards in your deck at any given point in time will have different effectiveness against your opponents. And let's just say maybe you run a Mega Minion. In one match it will be kind of weak because they have a lot of swarm cards. However, in another match it may prove to be very valuable. So what you will want to do is identify your opponent's deck very quickly as soon as you can, and just try to figure out what cards give them the most trouble. For some people it's a battle ram, for other people it's the executioner, and maybe for others it might be the P.E.K.K.A. So whatever it is, identify what cards that you have will pressure your opponent a lot, and capitalize on their mistakes with it and then cash in. So by doing this, you can really steamroll your opponents and just get a greater lead in the game overall. Now for our third tip, it would be to try to bring some splash troops. Now not everyone will do this, everyone's deck will vary. However, splash troops in general are very effective in this challenge, and this is because there will be a lot of bulky troops on the whole, really just a lot of troops on the map at any given point in time. So splash troops will help you be able to clear away some of the massive waves instantly. So yeah, drop your splash troops when it is possible and use them to combo them with a tornado for very effective defense, or on offense, you can predict when your enemy is about to drop some troops on your support units, I guess, and take them out very easily. It will mess with your opponent if it is timed very correctly. Our next tip will be to have a game plan. Every match you go into, again, like I said before, will be different from the last. However, after playing your deck a few times, you will be able to identify maybe a 1-2 kind of punch that you can do. For me in this deck, it's basically dropping the P.E.K.K.A. on defense, and after that defense I will back it up with either the baby dragon or the executioner, and drop a princess on the other lane to kind of support but split my elixir as well, so that I have something that they need to address on both lanes. Often enough, the princess is left alone because everyone is distracted by the big bad P.E.K.K.A. So the princess gets a lot of chip damage. That's how this deck works a bit. And the Sparky, again, underrated but very effective at times. So yeah, just do that, folks, and you should be sitting golden. Now our last big tip really for the challenge will be to bring some heavy spells. Now, cheap spells are fine, don't get me wrong. Everyone deserves to use a cheap spell in the deck every now and then. However, this challenge just literally bends or lives off of making good positive trades with your heavy spells. So these spells would include the fireball or the lightning or the rocket or anything like that. If you can strike down an enemy troop and hit the tower at the same time, or maybe a building and hit the tower at the same time, that is going to be massive value for you folks, because at the end of the day you have to get as much damage done to those towers as possible, because with all the elixir flowing around, the game can be defensive and it can be very offensive at the same time. So it's like a huge all-out war, and spells can be the easy way to really get some damage in there. So yeah, just pick your spells wisely and know when and where to use them, because they make such a big difference in the gameplay overall. So yeah, just know when to use them and stuff, and they will pay you handsomely in return. So on to the next bit of our video here, and this will be some suggested cards. So what cards would I recommend to bring? Now, after playing the challenge, I have just made a small list of some cards that I thought were pretty darn effective overall. I might be inaccurate a little bit because everyone's experience will be different. However, there are some generalizations that can be very apparent and will be seen by everyone. So our first card is going to be the tornado spell. Like I said before, folks, bring your splash troops, bring your tornado, and you will have a simple way to clear waves and waves of troops very easily and effectively. Now, some of the splash troops that you can pair with this will be maybe a wizard, executioner, princess, or baby dragon. Any of these cards are pretty darn okay in my opinion, so if you have them leveled up appropriately, do bring them with you in the challenge and they might be able to be very valuable. However, it must be noted that cards like the wizard and princess do have straight counters, such as lightning being able to kill the wizard instantly, and arrows or log being able to kill the princess. However, the baby dragon and the executioner are a little bit better to bring because of the fact that they can survive spells like the lightning and fireball very easily, and they only die to rocket generally. I mean, a lot of things die to rocket, but you get the idea. They live a little bit longer than the others, so they might be a bit more worth their elixir cost. So our second card for the card recommendations will be the P.E.K.K.A. Guys, when I started this challenge, there was just like a disturbance in the force. I knew it all too well. There would be a lot of golem users, and trust me folks, there really were. I was fighting just bucket loads of golems every other match, and of course, naturally, if there's going to be a lot of golems, you're going to expect a lot of P.E.K.K.A.s as well. So I was not the only one running P.E.K.K.A. In fact, every other match there was also a P.E.K.K.A. deck as well in between. Some really off decks as well, but generally P.E.K.K.A. does great in this challenge, folks. She really does shine in this, and she's not a card that I normally pick up, but boy, I became a believer in P.E.K.K.A. after this challenge, folks. P.E.K.K.A. just holds so much value. Just use her to defend against the supporting units that your enemy drops, because the P.E.K.K.A. one-shots almost anything really, or two-shots it, and then it will move back onto the tank at hand. As long as it walks, P.E.K.K.A. will wreck her. That's our motto for this, folks. P.E.K.K.A. will wreck it. So just bring a P.E.K.K.A. and know where and when to use her, and she will pay you off handsomely in return. Our third card will be some of the heaviest spells, like I said. The rocket, lightning, and fireball. All of these cards will provide excellent value for you and just help you to get the upper hand, as long as you can clip a troop of value or a building of value and hit the tower at the same time, they will just pay you off so much in the long run, because trust me folks, spell damage accounts for a lot in some of these games, especially when both ends have good defense. It just comes down to a matter of who can spell cycle the most, and as much as I hate to admit it, that is the reality of it here folks. So yeah, just bring your spells, use them wisely, know when and where to use them, and they will help you out a lot. Our fourth topic here, or card really, will be the Three Musketeers. Oh my goodness, there were so many people running Three Musketeers, it was not even funny. That's why when I played my main account, I decided to bring a lightning spell and stuff. Three Muskets were in a lot of decks, they were pretty darn annoying. Remember folks, when you're playing Three Musketeers, they are very effective in this challenge, and you will want to split them as much as you can. However, be very mindful of where you place them to split and when you place them. Do not place them when your opponent has a rocket in hand or lightning, because the moment you do, they might be waiting just to strike them down with it. Especially if they are close to the tower, they will obviously take that rocket value, because trust me folks, who would not want to rocket down 2 Musketeers and hit the tower? Then that is immense value, so do be mindful of that when placing your 3 Musketeers. And as I mentioned the 3 Musketeers, of course there's a certain card that you have to mention after discussing the 3 Musketeers, and that will be the Battle Ram. Of course folks, this is going to be a very excellent card, as I mentioned before. For 4 Elixir, it is very punishing to play against your opponent when they are low or have their best counters out of rotation. So yeah, using this card you can just draw out buildings such as the Inferno Tower or anything like that that can normally just obliterate your tank like the P.E.K.K.A. And it is also a very good lightning rod. So if your opponent is running lightning, you can use the Battle Ram to soak up damage for your 3 Musketeers or any other support troops that you would have. And if your tower is pretty darn low and you're playing a lightning user and they just have lightning in cycle, and you know they are gonna finish your tower off with the lightning spell, you can drop the ram and shield your tower from that incoming lightning spell. It can really save you the game in some situations. Now there's another card that is not normally mentioned in some of my guides here, and this will be the Giant Skeleton. So this card is also a very good card to bring because of the fact that it drops a death bomb that deals massive damage. So if you can fit a Giant Skeleton into your deck somewhere along the lines, you can be pretty defensive there and keep your opponents in check at all times, because they will be afraid to invest too much. Because if you have something like the Tornado spell and your Giant Skeleton pops, you can pull everything towards the Giant Skeleton, and that will just be so infuriating for your opponents. It is just really nasty to do. So coming up next on our list here is gonna be the Lava Hound. Now if you are an experienced Lava Loon player or an experienced Lava Hound player on the whole, you're gonna love this challenge. And the reason why I say this is because you can just stack so many things behind that Lava Hound so very quickly. It can create a lot of pressure for your opponents and just keep them in a tight spot half the time. And again, you can cycle spells really quickly, even if it's expensive like lightning or rocket or anything like that, and it's just very devastating. And in fact, you can also use the Golem a lot. If you're a big fan of the Golem, the same thing can be said. You can just stack up a lot of troops. If you're looking for a good Golem deck, I would recommend using the Golem double witch deck. That was pretty darn messy for me because it actually stopped me from getting the full 12 wins, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, those are just decks you can consider using. And if you are running some of these cards like the Golem and the Lava Hound, it may be advisable to consider using the Clone spell and the Heal spell. Not necessarily in the same deck, but overall they work very well with these cards because you can just clone the Lava Pups, I guess, Lava Hound really, just when it's about to burst, and it can deal massive damage against the enemy tower if they do not have their zap or poison or anything like that in rotation, so they can't really deal with it easily. And for the Golem, you'll want to time it so that the Golem is about to pop really when it is on the tower already. And by doing this, you'll get a lot of Golemites being spawned and Golems, and when they die, in fact when every Golem or Golemite dies, it just does a lot of splash damage there because of their death damage, I guess. And that will just deal a lot of damage overall very quickly onto your opponent's tower, and it's just very nasty to do. So it is just something for you to consider doing. I'm not saying you should, but hey, it's an idea. If you're looking for new ideas, why not give it a try? And now folks, we'll talk about our last card, and it is actually going to be Sparky. So yes folks, wake up, smell the coffee. Yes folks, I just said Sparky. So a lot of you out there are probably concerned right now as to why I mentioned Sparky of all cards in this list. Now, I have a few reasons for mentioning Sparky here, and let me just say, even though it's pretty unwise to bring Sparky with you in most matches, in this challenge it is a very interesting topic to say that you brought Sparky, because when you think about it, even though there's going to be a lot of people running lightning spells and rockets, no one is really seriously prepared to just fight a Sparky, like in the sense that they won't expect anyone to seriously bring a Sparky. Like really, you have the counters already, but it's just such a surprise card really for some people that it can throw them off. And the reason why I like Sparky in this challenge is because she could just clear off just so many troops instantly that walk. I mean, they can't fly obviously to get away from her, but if you just combo her with the tornado and stuff and your opponent is not able to stop her in time, she will clear the executioner and anything else that has medium HP or anything like that in one shot. Everything else except the rocket leaves the executioner of all things in it just with a sliver of health really, and that is very annoying because so long as the executioner is alive, they can keep that tornado combo up, and this is just an easier way to deal with the executioner if you don't have a rocket available, or maybe a leveled up rocket and you have a Sparky just sitting there collecting dust. Why not dust her off and give her a try? It can work out in your favor. Just again, play her very carefully, and like I mentioned in my Sparky tutorial guide, I guess, don't let the E-Wiz reset the Sparky after he has dropped. Make sure something else is just blocking the E-Wiz from targeting Sparky, and you should be good to go. So yeah, that wraps it up for my tips really for this challenge here. So I hope you all would really have benefited from listening to what I had to say. I know I'm kind of crazy for mentioning Sparky and stuff, but hey, it's just something that's very interesting, and I don't think I saw anyone else really using it except one other guy throughout all of my entries in this challenge. So yeah, give it a go and let me know how it goes. I'm eager to hear what you all have to say about it. Now we still have some time to kill here before the video ends, so let's just look over this last battle here. So I'm fighting someone from NFF Gaming. Now when I think of NFF Gaming, I think of Not Far From Gaming. He is also another YouTuber for Clash Royale, and he also happens to be in the Hall of Fame that Ash has. So yeah, he's another good Clash Royale YouTuber. I guess he's a little bit better than me because he does more active live battles and stuff. So yeah, if you haven't checked him out before, I guess you could check him out now. Pretty interesting. I'm just really surprised to know that some people named the clan after him. So yeah, upon close inspection here, I did check out the guy's clan here. He's actually from Japan, and I guess the people in his clan were just really big fans of him, so they decided to name their clan after him. So yeah, he's playing this really weird balloon cycle deck with double dragons, and man, this has got to take the cake for some of the most bizarre cards put together in a deck. I mean, it is triple elixir and I can expect a lot of weird things coming out, but man, this guy, he just took my breath away. He just kept spamming inferno dragons and stuff. I was just confused at how he was able to play much at all. He's actually a challenger 2, challenger 3 player, so yeah, it really makes you wonder what goes on in other people's minds. I don't know. It's just a really wacky deck, and I'm just glad I brought the cards that I did. If I didn't bring the E-Wiz and Tornado and stuff, I would not be able to splash his troops fairly well and just be able to handle whatever he had to throw at me, because man, his deck was really wacky. So let's take a look at some of the rewards from the challenge. I did skip the first one, however that was just maybe 3,000 gold. At 5 wins now, we are gonna get 6,000 gold, and the goal is just gonna keep doubling and doubling and doubling. Now at 8 wins, we are gonna get 12,000 gold. Folks, this challenge just paid off really well for whoever can get to 12 wins, or maybe even 10 wins like I did. And at 10 wins, we're gonna get 20,000 gold. Unfortunately, my challenge ended at 11 wins. So let's open up this chest here and see what we can get. So opening up this chest now, we are going to get 8,750 gold, 19 Goblin Gang, 7 Wizards, 18 Hog Riders and 3 Musketeers, 128 Elite Barbarians, 235 Bombers, 4 Rages, and we're gonna get a legendary card, folks. What is it gonna be? Maybe a Bandit, maybe a Log, I don't know. And we get the Inferno Dragon. Not bad, folks, not bad, because this was on my second account and I was actually needing the Inferno Dragon to add to my card collection. So yeah, I am just in need of the cannon card on this account and the lock, and I will just basically have a complete collection. Okay folks, that is going to be it for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to leave a comment down below, like the video maybe if you can, and consider turning on notifications to be up to date whenever I upload any new videos in the future. So guys, once again, just remember, if you keep digging, you'll eventually strike gold, but even then, keep on digging deeper. You'll eventually come across something even more worth your while. So once again everyone, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace out guys.